and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we are going to talk about the Jazz Festival. It's not too late to go this year if you don't have your tickets yet, but also the history and the economic impact of what this three-day festival means to Hampton and Hampton University. My guests are George Wallace, who has been involved with the Jazz Festival for most of its 50 years, and Doretha from Hampton University. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is a huge event in Hampton. I mean, you kind of can't go anywhere in Coliseum Central during that weekend. And there are people who come in from all over, and some of them don't even come to the Jazz Festival. Like maybe they can't get tickets or they go to one night, but it's a bit of a homecoming, right?
It certainly is. It's a time where family and friends can come together. Some people even focus their family reunion around the time. So it's just a great fellowship and reunion time for not only, like you said, for Hampton University, but the City of Hampton.
So George, as former mayor now, not speaking as Jazz Festival committee member, but what does it mean to Hampton for 50 years to have had people coming back for this three-day period over 50 years?
Well, in terms of economic impact, the dollars can be measured in millions of dollars in terms of that. But in terms of name recognition for the City of Hampton and the fact that we're now one of the oldest continuous jazz festivals in the country, and they speak of us in the context that they do with the Heritage Jazz Festival in New Orleans, and the Monterey Jazz Festival in California, and the JVC Jazz Festival in New York. So, and all of those, in some way or another, is sponsored or has the promoter of George Wein, who has been our partner for 50 years.
Well, let's go back and talk about how it started and how it's really grown. Because the first 2 years were a little smaller, a little quieter. Did you attend? I know you weren't technically involved in it at that time.
I was not technically involved, but I did attend the festivals on the campus. And the thing that sticks out most in the second year of the festival, one of the artists was Ray Charles. And it was a day festival presentation as opposed to night. And it was 105 degrees in the shade.
Oh.
And I remember Ann Kilgore, the mayor at that particular time, was dressed in white, beautifully white. And Ray Charles was jamming on the stage in 105-degree weather. And everybody loved it.
I bet. So it was outdoors at the football stadium for those first 2 years. And it was the promoter and I'm going to say university, I think it was Hampton Institute at the time,
yes.
But who were the partners. George, you were involved. How did the city become the third leg of that stool?
Well, the third year of the festival, they moved it from the campus to the Coliseum because the Coliseum was just having its grand opening during those particularly early years. And it was a good thing that did because we called it the monsoon season took place that particular weekend. And fortunately, we were inside and it had no impact on the festival.
And what a protection for that investment, because either way, when you book the guests, they're coming.
Yes.
And if you hadn't been able to be indoors, and the heat too.
Yeah. But the festival itself actually started in 1968 at Hampton Institute at the time, now the university. But it was out of an idea for a class or workshop on history of jazz. And then one of the organizers of that workshop was George Wein. And so he saw the football stadium and he said, this would be a great place to have a festival just like what we have in Newport, Rhode Island. And so from there, it started, and the rest is history. Like George said, 50 years, here we are later. Yeah.
Well, now, one of the things people say about the festival, and it's been true the years I've been there, is that it is, like some jazz festivals are jazz. Hardcore jazz, and this one is really a blend of R&B and then kind of, I don't know, is it modern jazz? But it has a little of an R&B spin to it. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair description? And what created that, and what people really hold to it?
Yeah, well, that is correct. What we do as a board, the festival board, is that we get feedback from our audience. And they even provide us with suggested groups or artists that they would like to see. So our audience tend to like a little R&B as well as jazz. So we give them a blend. When
you think of 1968, I mean, you do think that was really an R&B heyday. Mm-hmm. And it's morphed and stuck around and changed.
Yeah.
Now, because you have people who come back and back and back, sometimes that audience who came here, no offense, Mr. Wallace, 50 years ago is getting a little on the older side and may not always be able to travel. And if you count on them as your core audience, you're going to go bankrupt at some point. So one of the things you guys do is bring in younger and different artists as a mix. So who are some of those young artists who you've introduced to your giant fan base?
Well, like this year, we'll have Fantasia. The young folks love Fantasia. We've done India Ari.
Oh, she's amazing.
Exactly. Jennifer Hudson has been in the past. So we do try to blend a little that the younger group like, as well as the older group. I myself personally, my son started as little boys going on Sunday because the Sunday show is at 2 o'clock.
Right.
And so they've grown up coming to the Jazz Festival. So we...
And do you see that? Do you see that second and almost third generation now of people?
I can speak to that.
You have a giant family reunion
I have 3
that
sons.
weekend.
The rite of passage for them to go to the Jazz Festival was after their first year in college.
You
So-
didn't let them go until then?
No, they did not go until their first year in college. And that was kind of the rite of passage for them. And over the years, now we have our friends who are in our generation, but they also have their friends that they have invited over the years who are coming. And now we're beginning to get to the third generation. I got a grandson who's 15. He said, I want to come to the Jazz Festival. Granddad, I said, no, the rite of passage. You got to be first year in college.
I don't have grandchildren yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Now, you said this is kind of a family reunion and extended reunion time. How many people do you host for a typical Jazz Fest weekend? I know it's a big number.
This year we have 76 people.
Do you similarly do that?
Yes, I do. My group is not quite as large as George, but about 40 people.
It is, it's an amazing music, but it's also an amazing cultural phenomenon. Is there a particular artist or a particular moment over the past 50 years that just stands out in your mind like, this is it?
Yeah. I can remember about, and George and I was talking earlier before the show, but I remember one year Kenny G was there, and he started from the back of the Coliseum and played all the way up to the stage. And I think he was on it like a tightrope, and he just came zooming in, and we were like, first we heard him before we could see him, and it was like, well, where is he? And then boom, here he is. It was so exciting, and the audience, everyone was on their feet, just applauding that he's such a great artist as well. Yeah.
And each year he comes back, he does a similar kind of situation. He'll leave the stage and walk throughout the audience, playing his instrument, and they perfected the sound process right now, so that he does that. And of course, we have the security guards walking in front of him and behind him,
You gotta
otherwise
clear
he'd be
the place.
swamped. But,
Yeah.
That's his tradition each time he plays it in the Coliseum.
George, is there one moment that you can pick out?
There are a couple. One, I remember I was telling Doretha a while back, I said I was really apprehensive one year when we had a group called War. And as they started playing, people rushed to the stage, which was the first time that had occurred. And I was assistant manager in charge of the police department in the Coliseum, and I was really, really frightened. And but the security people out in front and the people that rushed to the stage just stood there and enjoyed the show. And the only downside was that it impacted the people who were sitting on the front rows that they couldn't see unless they stood. So they were standing that rushed the stage, and everybody on the floor was standing and jamming, having a good time.
And that was probably that younger generation, older generation kind of
Mixing.
Is it going to mix or is it going to be bad? And it worked.
Yeah.
Mine, if I can share it, was that I got tickets to see Aretha Franklin, which was a dream of mine, and I just couldn't wait. And she was sick, and Gladys Knight was going to replace her, and I thought, yeah, Gladys is a wonderful pop singer, but she's not an icon. And then I heard her live, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is what you don't get on the radio. This is what you don't get in an album, is someone just, it's powerful voice and singing songs that wouldn't have been a commercial success as much, but were an artistic success.
I know. At that time, Gladys had was it her father? I know her brother, and she called him Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Yes.
And they appeared with it, and they were infused into the act with little comedy routines in addition to the songs, which was good.
It was very, very good. And I saw Ray Charles. I don't think he came on until after midnight. My parents were too tired. They left, but it went on until 2 in the morning and was absolutely amazing. And I think it's probably hard for you guys to pick out one memory because there's probably something from each year.
Exactly. George has been going, like he says, since the beginning. I've been in this area about 37 years and have attended the festival all 37 years. So there are tons of memories, and all good. They're all good memories.
I've been to all the shows except one, and that was on a Sunday show, and my wife's father passed. So we had to leave and go to Pennsylvania to take that process underway. But other than that, we've been there, and we've been blessed to be able to be there.
Now, one of the things you said about getting suggestions for acts reminds me that something you've done, at least in recent years, I don't know if you've always done it, is try to feature a local or regional artist when possible. That is, I remember talking to Carla Crump afterward, a huge boost to someone, starting out their career or someone who hasn't made that national break yet. Why do you do that?
Because it is a great opportunity for them to get on the stage, what we use like the big stage, and have not only family and friends see them, but people from out of state. And it's a introduction to them to the music world. So it's a great opportunity.
I think you have, who's coming this year? Is it, or I know he's been in the past, Bobby Blackhat,
Right.
Walters from Hampton, who is wonderful. And I think Jackie Scott has performed before. And one of the things about them is they're in the community all year round. They're here performing in Hampton. Jackie brought the blues camp to Hampton. And, I think it makes Hampton become this center of blues and jazz and R&B and all kinds of other music.
But it gives that particular local group an opportunity to say we've appeared on that particular venue, which is something extraordinary.
And definitely bragging rights.
And leads to them also getting bookings from people who are attending the festival from out of town.
Oh, yeah.
To go to some of those places. I know there are multiple opportunities where people from D.C. have booked the local artists because they heard them here at the Hampton Jazz Festival first.
Okay, so 50 years, you can sit back and go, we're done? Or are you planning for 51st?
Of course. We're already beginning to think of who we can bring. No, we're not done. We're just beginning.
So what do you think the future of this festival is? How does it, grow and change and adapt to the times? Because you're keeping it, right?
Oh, yes, we are keeping it. I would think that we continue to bring back or bring artists, new and the old, the young and the old, to the people. That we continue to promote great entertainment, and that we continue to also promote Hampton University in the city of Hampton.
I hope so.
Well, it was used as an opportunity for Hampton alumni to come back to town and to have another opportunity to convene and come together in addition to homecoming. And it's been advertised that way. I believe Doretha over the years for the alumni of the university come and participate in that process. That was part of the original concept anyway.
And it works. I mean, you have homecoming in the fall, and it's surrounded around football, and then you have this other opportunity in the summer.
Right. Yep.
Around music.
And we keep the date always that 4th weekend in June, so everyone, and we announce the dates at the festival so that everyone will know to be prepared and put it on the calendar for the next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
The pleasure's ours. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope you will be at the Jazz Festival this year for the 50th celebration. It's an incredible lineup, and that you start planning for next year already, because I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for watching.